Hello and welcome back to Dragon Quest World Tutorials. I'm GZ, and in this video we are going to do a weapon review of the Uroboros Staff. So I actually got this weapon through mileage points. So actually I was very surprised that I did get it. I didn't get really any indication that I would with Tsurumichi appearing, but yeah, right here. So this is going to be it right here. So probably I went over this in a previous video, but one of the main abilities of this is going to be Medoroa. So that's going to be the same ability that Pop has in the Dai's Grand Adventure anime. So yeah, that's actually in the anime quite good. But in this video, I want to go over the weapon. I'm going over the weapon skills and everything in detail. But I will also give like a general review of this particular weapon and how I would compare it to another weapon that I do have in my inventory. But yeah, so here, what I want to do is first go over some of the stats. So you can see here that the basic Uroboros Staff is main stats are going to have plus 112 in magic power, plus 12 in healing power, and plus 61 in attack power. Then for the stats that you get for at different levels, so you have 3 at level 1, so plus 5 to your max MP if you are an Archmage, plus 5% to meta spell damage, and plus 5% to shadow spell damage. So those are all at level 1. Then at level 35 you're going to have 2, so plus 5% damage to machines and plus 5% damage to slime. Then at level 40 you're going to have plus 12 to your max MP if you have expertise with the weapon, and then plus 12 magic power if you have expertise with this weapon. Then that's going to be at level 45. So something else, the Ikinari ability, the sudden activation ability, needs some explanation. So here what it reads is that this is going to be the Flame Ice Fusion. So this is going to cost 8 MP, and what it does is raising the effectiveness of meta and shadow attributes that Medoroa is based on. The attribute value of both attributes is evenly increased. That's actually a pretty bad explanation of what it does. There's actually a more in-depth explanation over in the original details video about it. So down over here, so the Ikinari ability, so what this really does is that it increases the spell crit rate and also the rate at which you have a successes with inflicting a status effect. So that's actually what this actually does. It increases the rates of those two things. So I will go over in this case the abilities of Medoroa, but pretty much what you have here is that you have different levels. So you have level 1, 2, 3, and then you have level max. So all this depends on the meta damage and meta spell damage, and your shadow spell damage that you have in your actual inventory. So depending on the percentage of those two things, that's going to change your spell crit rate and also your rate at which you can inflict status effects successfully. So for example, here's one example. So let's say if your meta and shadow attributes are at plus 10%, in this case you're at max and you'll get plus 10% to your spell crit rate, and then plus 7% to the chances of you inflicting a status effect. If you're at 20%, that's also going to be max level. So in that case you get plus 20% to your spell crit rate and plus 14 to your rate at which you inflict status effects. Then in cases, in this case, from the anime, Pop had to actually match things evenly. If they weren't even, it wouldn't work correctly. So here, if you, for example, have plus 20% to your meta and plus 22 to shadow, that's going to change things a bit differently. So here, the effect level is going to be at 3. So with this, the spell crit rate is going to be plus 6, so that's actually a big drop. And then also the rate of which you can inflict status effects is going to be plus 4. So you can see how much of a big difference there is from just a tiny bit of a difference between your shadow and meta percentages. So that is going to be quite pertinent that you want to keep those actually quite even. So that's pretty much how that works. Also, depending on your MP as well, when you have max MP, you're going to be at max, but also when you start using your MP quite a bit, that will also change the level as well. So now what I want to do is actually take a look at the status of my Archmage who's equipped with this weapon. So here you can look at skills and effects. So pretty much right here, you're going to see that I have plus 12% to my spell crit rate. Then besides that, plus 67% to my spell damage, plus 5% to meta spell damage, plus 22 to Gita spell damage, plus 5 to my Shadow spell damage. So pretty much Shadow and meta are going to actually be even here, and pretty much and it's going to be low. So probably my spell crit rate isn't going to be that high. But here, my spell damage is actually going to be plus 67%, so that's actually pretty good. So pretty much I'm using these souls right here. So all these souls, I'm pretty much using them for increases to spell damage. So plus 10 here for the Dancing Jewels S star grade, plus 10 here for Rio, plus 10 here for the White King, and also plus 10 for Zoma. And Zoma also gives me plus 5% to my spell crit rate as well. So for the Soul Pearls, pretty much this one is just for spell resistance. So I use that against what's his name, Miss Vern. And here this is plus 10% resistance to confusion, again something that Miss Vern uses. So pretty much this one is going to mainly be focused on the spell damage of Medoroa. So there is going to be a difference that you will see. I will go over a different type of character with different souls, but here I want to go over the abilities first. So let's start by going here. Okay, so my Archmage is first. So you can see here that I'm at my Flame Ice Fusion is at max. So pretty much with plus 5%, that's not going to increase my spell crit rate that much, or the rate that I inflict status effects. But that's actually going to be okay. But what I want to do now is go over the first ability, and that's actually going to be Mahado Kai. So we've seen this before with the Holly Child S star grade soul. So what this does is going to, with an even further larger pillar of ice, this does a large amount of Shadow spell damage to all enemies, and this is going to cost 35 MP. Okay, and now next for the next spell. So this is actually going to be one we've seen before. This is going to be Medozoma. So not Medozoma Kai, but just a regular Medozoma. So this is going to cost 22 MP, and what it does with a powerful giant fireball, this spell does massive mirror damage to one enemy. So I'm going to use this on the Dark Persian right here. So down. Okay, so back with my Armamentalist, not my Armamentalist, but my Archmage. So the next ability is going to be right here. This is going to be Medoroa Metsu, so Medoroa Destruction. This is going to cost 78 MP. So this does massive spell damage to all enemies while doing 16 damage to metal type enemies, and destroys enemies that are reduced to less than 15% of their HP. Some enemies are excluded from this. Though if you do crit with this, that will actually kill metal enemies. So it's going to be like this. And in this case, there was no spell crit. But that's also a reason why, that's also because of the actual souls that I have on, not a whole lot of increases to meta or shadow damage. Okay, so here you can see that this level actually went down from max to 2. I believe that's going to have to be with the amount of MP that I do have. So there's going to be some sort of offset balance right there. So again, here with this, I probably won't be able to get a spell crit, but we'll see what happens. But the last ability here is going to be Medoroa. So this is going to cost 64 MP and is unleashing the spark of conflicting energies. This does tremendous spell damage to one enemy and has a rare chance to either lower spell resistance or defenses. So going to be like this. In that case, took it out. And here's Echo, and took that one out too. So yeah, so those are going to be all the abilities right there. But I am going to do something a bit different. So what I want to do differently is actually I'm going to change this to a very, very similar team, but souls are going to be a bit different for my my Archmage. So I'll see you back real quick. Okay, so back with this team, yeah, you don't really see much of a difference, but you actually do see it when you go to the souls of my Archmage. So you can see a big difference here, except for one, that's going to be Zoma. I still kept him on, but you can see that 3 of the souls have changed, and that also I have changed the actual soul pearls. So here I'm going to have on the Evil Priest. So Evil Priest is going to give me plus 3% to spell damage, plus 7% to meta spell damage, and plus 7% to shadow spell damage. So pretty even there. And then with Pop, plus 5% to spell damage, plus 5% to both meta and shadow spell damage as well. So again, that's actually pretty even. And then here, Flazard is a big one. So plus 5% to spell damage, plus 10% to meta and shadow spell damage. So that's actually a big boost right there from just one soul. Then again with Zoma, plus 10% to spell damage, and then plus 5% to the critical spell crit rate. And then with the souls here, I'm going to get plus 10% to shadow damage here, and plus 10% to meta damage there. So looking at the stats real quick, you're going to see differences. Let's see right here. So here is saying that the spell crit rate is still going to be 12%, but I don't think that's going to factor into when the battle actually starts. But you're going to see differences right here. Before, my spell damage was at 67%, now it's at 50. My meta damage is going to be at 10%. Before I didn't have meta damage, I just had spell damage, which was at 5, but now it's going to be at 27. Same with Shadow. Shadow is now 10% Shadow damage, that's thanks to the Soul Pearl, and then 27% to Shadow spell damage. So that should increase the rate that I get spell crits. So I want to go and I want to test this out. So let's go into walk mode and let's start. Okay, so here I have 3 enemies. Oh, so here I got a spell crit. And everyone down. So you can see right away I got a spell crit right there. Oh, and that one enemy just ran away. So let's try this again. Again, another spell crit. And all done. Let's see, another enemy anywhere. Again, another spell crit. So you can see spell crits actually have increased quite a bit. So that makes actually quite a big difference. But probably also another difference that you see is that the amount of damage that I'm doing is actually going to be a bit less. Again, another spell crit. So yeah, that is pretty much the difference between having my Archmage equipped with souls that increase meta and hero damage and compared to just going straight spell damage. So you see that pretty much almost all the most of the battles there that I actually got spell crits. So that actually worked out quite well. You might be wondering if this is actually going to work well with like for example the Metal Slime dungeon. I actually made a video in regards to that I'm actually not going to upload because I don't think it's really going to be worth the time to actually go over it in a full video. But pretty much if you really want to, if for using this particular weapon, you're going to have on the Metal King sword. That's pretty much what you need to just take your actions before the metal enemies. That's also going to work with pretty much even any of the battles, even on the field. You need to have that sword in order to take your actions before the actual metal enemies. So again, that's the crutch there. So pretty much comparing this to, for example, something like, let's say, the Dark Whip of Beasts. So the Dark Whip of Beasts, it has Metal Shredder, which does 15 to 16 damage to metal type enemies. So and it does have a crit that it can do. But it's really with each attack on the enemy, it's going to not be a crit to all enemies, but just to like maybe one or two. Depends on the actual attack. But here with this one, you can actually get spell crit that I can actually do pretty well. But besides that, I'd say in terms of actual leveling, this is actually, I'd say, good if you're going to go up against a boss. Especially, probably what I'll do is I'll make a video using this weapon against Mistfern. This actually does really go in, but I think I'd probably be using a different build. Probably the straight spell damage build, because that actually does a lot more damage. And even though I can get spell crits, I really haven't seen as much damage as I have with just doing straight spell crits. So please stay tuned for that video. Should be coming somewhat soon. Besides this, the staff is actually not bad. But pretty much what I would prefer to have on the field if you are leveling, you definitely want the Metal King sword, and then you also want to have on, I honestly would say you probably would want to have on the it's honestly a coin flip between the Uroboros Staff here and then also the Dark Whip of Beast. In all honesty, I kind of prefer the Dark Whip of Beast, mainly because it costs less in terms of MP, so you could do it more times. But with this here, with the Archmage, you actually do have a lot more MP, so you could, it almost evens out, but I believe you could do more in terms of damage, in terms of leveling if you have on the Dark Whip of Beast, mainly not for the Metal Shredder, but for Darkness Flare. Which is actually pretty good weapon. It actually does do a lot of damage to most of the enemies on the field. Yeah, definitely. If you want to get this, definitely get it, but I wouldn't recommend like going all out, trying to get everything for this. You don't need more than one, I believe. If you really want to, let's see. So pretty much, my final thoughts are this. This is good if you're going to be fighting a single enemy like a boss, but in terms of leveling on the field, you should probably use something else, definitely. So, but if you do want to use this, definitely, and use it for chasing after metal enemies, you definitely want to use this along with the Metal King Sword. So yeah, so that's going to be the Uroboros Staff. I actually am glad that I did get this. This does work very well in a Mega Monster battle, so especially against Miss Fern. So hopefully I'll be able to show that to you soon. But with that said, I'm going to end this video here, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you would like to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.